It was the night from the 15th to the 16th of December, 1485, in the heart of Spain, at the Archbishop's Palace of Alcalá de Henares in Madrid, Castile under the gaze of the Catholic monarchs, a princess who would shape the destiny of Tudor England was born. Her name was Catherine of Aragon, the youngest child of Isabella I of Castile and Ferdinand II of Aragon. This is a story of love, ambition, betrayal, and faith. This video continues our journey into Tudor history, following our exploration of Francis Drake just 2 days ago. While Drake represents the adventurous spirit of Elizabethan England, Catherine of Aragon's story showcases the political, religious, and emotional turmoil at the heart of the Tudor court. From her role in securing an alliance between England and Spain to her tragic downfall and the English Reformation, Catherine's life is one of history's most compelling sagas. Catherine of Aragon was born into one of the most powerful families in Europe. Her parents, Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile, were not just monarchs, but architects of a united Spain. They were the Catholic monarchs, conquerors who completed the Reconquista by driving the Moors from Granada in 1492 AD, and patrons of Christopher Columbus's voyages to the New World. Catherine grew up in an environment steeped in faith, diplomacy, and culture. She was highly educated, fluent in Latin, and deeply religious, qualities that would define her life as Queen of England. Meanwhile, in 1485, the Tudor dynasty was born. Henry Tudor claimed the English throne as Henry VII after the bloody Wars of the Roses. Seeking to secure his reign, Henry turned to Spain, forging an alliance through the marriage of his eldest son, Prince Arthur Tudor, to Catherine of Aragon. This marriage was not just a union of two people, but a cornerstone of Tudor diplomacy. In 1501, Catherine embarked on a perilous journey to England. At just 15, she married Prince Arthur Tudor in a ceremony filled with pomp and symbolism. For a brief moment, it seemed the alliance between Spain and England was secure. But tragedy struck. Just 6 months after their marriage, Arthur fell ill and died. Catherine, now a widow at 16, found herself in a precarious position in a foreign court. Her dowry was only partially paid, and her future as a member of the Tudor dynasty was uncertain. For 7 long years, Catherine lived in limbo. Isolated and often in financial difficulty, she relied on her faith and her political instincts to navigate the complex intrigues of the Tudor court. In 1509, Catherine's fortunes changed. Following Henry VII's death, the new king, Henry VIII, married her, fulfilling her long-delayed destiny as Queen of England. Their marriage began with hope and affection. Catherine played a key role in the Tudor court, often acting as regent when Henry was abroad. She was instrumental during the Battle of Flodden in 1513, rallying English forces to a decisive victory against Scotland. But behind the scenes, Catherine faced heartbreak. Despite numerous pregnancies, she suffered repeated miscarriages and stillbirths. Her only surviving child was a daughter, Mary, born in 1516. For Henry VIII, desperate for a male heir to secure the Tudor dynasty, this was not enough. By the late 1520s, Henry VIII's frustration boiled over. His infatuation with Anne Boleyn and his need for a son drove him to seek an annulment of his marriage to Catherine. This became known as the King's Great Matter. Henry claimed their marriage was invalid because Catherine had previously been married to his brother Arthur, but Catherine stood her ground, insisting that her marriage to Arthur had never been consummated. Catherine's defiance was remarkable. In a public appeal, she declared, "I am your true and lawful wife." Her dignity and steadfast faith won her admiration, but could not stop Henry's determination. Giles Tremlett is a British historian born in Plymouth. He is author and journalist, now based in Madrid. In his famous and awarded biography about Catherine's mother, Isabel of Castile, he noted, "Catherine's greatest weapon was her dignity. and she wielded it as effectively as any sword. Catherine's refusal to accept the annulment set off a chain of events that reshaped England. Unable to secure the Pope's approval, Henry VIII broke from the Catholic Church, establishing the Church of England and declaring himself its supreme head. This marked the beginning of the English Reformation. Across Europe, the Reformation was already fracturing Christendom, sparked by Martin Luther's 95 Theses in 1517. Catherine's downfall became a personal tragedy, intertwined with a monumental historical shift. Alison Weir is a British author and public historian. She primarily writes about the history of English royal women and families in the form of biographies that explore their historical setting. In her book, The Six Wives of Henry VIII from 1991, Alison Weir observed, "Catherine's fall from grace was the crucible from which the English Reformation emerged. Catherine spent her final years in exile, stripped of her title as queen. Her health deteriorated, but her faith never wavered. She continued to write letters to her daughter Mary, instilling in her a devotion to Catholicism that would later shape Mary's reign as Bloody Mary. Catherine of Aragon died in 1536, but her legacy endures. As Queen of England, she exemplified resilience and integrity. Her life, defined by loyalty and tragedy, remains a cornerstone of Tudor history." Eric Ives was a British historian, died in 2012 at the age of 81, who was an expert on the Tudor period and a university administrator. He was Emeritus Professor of English History at the University of Birmingham. In his book, The Life and Death of Anne Boleyn, he wrote, "Catherine's determination to hold her ground turned a domestic conflict into an international and religious upheaval." Although this book primarily focuses on Anne Boleyn, it provides critical insights into the conflict between Anne and Catherine and the broader consequences of their rivalry for English history. Catherine of Aragon's life was one of sacrifice, strength, and unwavering faith. Her story, from the grandeur of Spain to the court intrigues of Tudor England, is a reminder of the human cost behind the English Reformation. She was more than a queen. She was a symbol of resilience and dignity in the face of unimaginable challenges. Catherine of Aragon's life was a testament to resilience, faith, and the complex intrigues of Tudor history. Her story, though tragic, shaped the course of England's destiny and left a legacy that endures to this day. If you're fascinated by Tudor history, don't miss our recent video about Francis Drake's daring circumnavigation of the globe, a tale of adventure, ambition, and the rise of Elizabethan England. Click here to explore another captivating chapter of the Tudor era. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you very soon with further stories from European Middle Ages.